Good day, my friend. It's such a nice day today. I thought I'd come outside and do a little Bible study with you. We are in the book of Joshua, the first book of the historical books. We're done with Moses, done with the Pentateuch. Of course, we will refer back to that quite a bit as we push forward through the Bible this year. I'm so excited to see what's gonna take place. And the history books are kind of fun if you like history, and if you don't, they're still kind of fun because it's the Bible, and it's for you. Everything written beforehand was written for us, for our learning. The kiddos are down for a nap, so it works. We're going to enter into Joshua chapter 1. Moses is dead. Joshua, get up. We got stuff to do. Basically, that's Dave's translation. After the death of Moses, the Lord's servant, the Lord spoke to Joshua. Moses, my servant, is dead. Therefore, the time has come for you to lead the people of Israelites across the Jordan River into the land I am going to give them. What land? The land stretching from the Negev, the wilderness, the south of Lebanon mountains to the north, the Euphrates River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea. The Euphrates River, yes, that is the land that God has promised to the people. And it's not just in Joshua, it's the land that he promised way back to Abraham. Israel's got it coming, and they will be getting it. So you say, Israel's got it coming. Yeah, they do got it coming. Their king is coming, and he's going to take care of the mess that is on this planet right now and restore and renew all of those things that he promised Abraham he was going to do, and all the people of Israel will have their king on the throne. Hallelujah. We will reign with him as believers. And of course, we're going to be the servants. We're going to be the... I said the other night, me and John, we're going to be the security detail. We're going to be the ace and spade, detectives, walking around, making sure the perimeters are secure, keeping everything in line. If you don't understand the ace and spade reference, me and John, when we were in high school, we created our own little detective series called Ace and Spade, which I'm still trying to figure out how to convert to the computer from my mini DV tapes and VHS and stuff. But anyways, that was a lot of fun and we enjoyed it. It was one of our high school things we did, and just videoing and goofing off. It was a good alternative to some things that you could get into in high school that wouldn't necessarily be so good. And Joshua, we approach him, and he's got to be told continually to be strong and courageous. We said that a few times at the end of Deuteronomy, but even here, it's like chapter number 6, be strong and courageous, for you are the one that will lead the people to possess the land I swore to their ancestors. Okay, here's some instructions. Now, study the book of instructions. Meditate on it daily, day and night. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. In 3 days, you will cross the Jordan River. He just says, remember all the things that God promised. It's going to be fulfilled. And Joshua, you're going to be the man I'm going to use to take care of it. So, chapter 2 begins. And we have the story here. Joshua decides. It doesn't say God said to do it. Joshua did it. He sent 2 spies into the land to convert. You guys can play with you have a point. Okay? Anyhow, that's not what he told the spies. You guys can go into the land, but you need to be quiet. You need to be careful. I end up in the house of Rahab, who has been labeled harlot, although I've seen some translators call her just a housemaiden, meaning like a housekeeper or an innkeeper. I don't know, really. An innkeeper would make sense. If the spies were coming in, they had to stay somewhere. So we call her a harlot, and that may have been the case, but we don't. It doesn't really indicate for sure from what I've read so far. Yes. And they, of course, are found out, and Rahab hides them and makes this deal with them and says, if you take care of my family when Israel, because, we're afraid of Israel. Apparently, it doesn't matter that Israel was stuck in the desert for 40 years. The fear of God was upon the people of the promised land already. From when they came out of Egypt. They remember that, and Rahab points it out right there. This is what the community of Jericho is saying. We're afraid of this God of yours. Take care of us. So they throw a scarlet thread out the window and say, okay, as long as the scarlet thread is sticking out the window, which is a sheer sign, it's like, what's going on, Rahab? And the Bible actually says by faith, Rahab did this. Even though it seems like she's lying about protecting the spies, but she's actually doing something by faith because she hasn't seen God. She only has heard about him. And she's only seen these spies that came in. And really, I consider them witnesses. I mean, the only thing that the witnesses accomplished, and there's two of them, 2 or 3 witnesses, right? The only thing the witnesses accomplished was to save Rahab and her family. So it was really all about salvation. That's what witnesses are for, is to not come in and beat you over the head with the Bible, but to love you enough to save you, correct you, to love you through actions and words. Shh, okay. Shh. Bound to happen eventually, right, guys? Alrighty, and we're la 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 la. We're afraid of you. I already said that. And so the spies go to the mountains and hide. Shh. Sweetheart, yes, it is. Avoid the bug. Avoid the bug. It's a plague. Plague of Egypt. Yes, I see that. Very good. Shh. Okay, go get the ball. Go kick the ball. Go get it. That always works, right? Go kick the ball. And it's always interesting how 3 days and 7 and different numbers come up in the Bible. 2 is the winner, your witnesses for 2. Okay, just go back in there then and watch your pirates. Watch your pirates. Go watch your pirates.
I want to see the car.
Go, okay. 3 days is very important, as we see with the resurrection and Jesus in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights. And it comes up again and again. And it says, so God made sure that they got back before everyone crossed over the Jordan, 3 days. Because Joshua was tells people in 3 days we're going to cross over. And that was it. Now here comes the big thing, chapter 3. And this is kind of important because it's not exactly the Red Sea occurrence, but it's similar. And God uses it in order to show the people of Israel that he's with Joshua. And it's kind of one of my favorite things. I wish I could just see this on the big screen because Joshua, he's approaching the waters. And God tells him to go ahead and get in. The Levites and the priests and the Ark of the Covenant are supposed to step into the water. Well, what happens is as soon as they step in, the water stops, right? And floods out, away. But it doesn't stop right away. It says that the floodwaters were dammed up, they mudslided, whatever. I don't think it was a mudslide because God brings the water back immediately, so that doesn't make any sense. It sounds exactly like, scientists are like, there was a mudslide because that area is, whatever. No. This was a miracle of God, just like the Red Sea, the Jordan River crossing, but it's more of a patience thing because here's Joshua. All right, Lord, and they get in there and say, okay, because the waters have stopped a couple miles upriver, all right, so there's still water flowing for a minute, right? A minute goes by, another, he's standing there with all the Israelites looking at him, okay, like, be strong and courageous, right, Lord? Maybe this is why you told me that. Patience, we're going to wait. Still water's running. There goes now. The stream is gone. It was always amazing to me that this is the Levites with the ark stood on dry ground. And God moved all the water particles out of the dirt. This wasn't mud. This wasn't slush. This was dry earth underneath their feet. That's amazing to me. It's just like God his miracles are perfect. When he acts, it's perfect. If he says the water's going to dry up, it dries up. And that's what he's going to do in your life, too. Whatever situation you've got going on, he wants to get into it. Not just a little bit, but completely into it. Because he loves you. He loves us so much. And then, of course, once they get to the other side of the Jordan River, the waters go ahead and come back. As soon as the Levites and the tabernacle, they wait. The Levites are good ministers. They wait patiently. They hold the door open, essentially, for everybody else. Everybody else to get through. They leave the... It's like preaching in a church where you got small children in the front row. It's awesome. I haven't actually done that in a while, so I'm getting a good idea of what that feels like when you're on stage. And when you get that. But the Levites, the water starts, they held the door open, they held the river, they weren't doing anything, they were just doing what God told them to do. So they all get through, and in chapter 4, Moses tells them to go ahead and put up memorial stones. So there's 12 stones now that God has told them to put up to remember this occurrence. Now, later on when we get into the Gospels, you're going to see John the Baptist, and he points out to the Pharisees that if God wanted to, he could make new people out of these stones. And he's pointing to some rocks in the ocean, in the Jordan River. Yes, it's windy, I know. In the Jordan River. Well, obviously, this doesn't necessarily mean it was these 12 stones, but it's interesting. And he points out here, do this so that in the future your children will ask, what do these stones mean? And you can tell them, this is where the Israelites crossed the Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the river right before their eyes. And that just right there tells you, it's not that he just lowered the water. It wasn't just a random mudslide. It was dry ground. I'm sorry, I'll look that up in Hebrew, and I'm pretty sure it's still dry ground. And he did this so all the nations of the earth might know the Lord's hand is powerful. You might fear the Lord your God forever. I'm looking forward to listening to Joshua unfold as my church out in California continues to do the sermons on it, on Joshua, so it'll be good. But that's just the first 4 chapters of Joshua, and things are already getting kind of exciting. You can see how Joshua is going to be a man who's being constantly told to be strong and courageous, facing a multitude of tasks ahead of him. But he, just like us, has been called by God to do something and to minister in the place of where to minister. So take that and continue reading Joshua, because there's a lot of fun stuff to come. Remember Rahab? We'll talk about Jericho some more in the next video. You have a good day, my friend.